Yeah, those are messed up, no. Bad news is to beat your home, nigga. Yeah. Go on, get on that ass real quick one time. 144, baby.
They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they trade that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, me whole car. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I go with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm too hardcore. Wait up, let me make a call right quick. I'ma start another war. I was hurting when she left, but I don't care about it anymore. I need a Vaseline like my Nina Puffer bar. Took a Zach, watch the dark. Matter of fact, like the dark. Any problem, let them come. We gon' snatch they soul like Shang Tsung. Put them out of service, keep them tools like Miss Harvey. Try to hope it's way too late. I'm headed straight to the safe. Throw that one up like a trophy. I'm that nigga, ain't no debate. Throw them boys, we taking notes. Call them up like set the date. This shit a piece of cake. Yeah, my bitches came from Whole Foods. Told them put on that top 3. Then bring me my house shoes. Don't make excuses, make moves. These niggas ungrateful, gotta show them UPK rules. I make hits like I can't lose. They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they trade that beat, I ride that business like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, the whole court. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm too hardcore. Yeah, I just got off the call. I'ma start another war. Spit a plate up with my niggas, get your knife and your fork. They ain't locked in with the count and with the speaking to me fart. Yeah, I just took the floor. Ain't no cowards in my campaign. They can't stop the campaign. Tell them bring the champagne. They know I'm a champion. They can see the outcome. Get them niggas bad, got them tied down and outdone. You can't do with them steps, niggas been down since day one. We run up the bands, bitch like Dylan. They say you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they trade that beat, I read that bitch just like a horse. Yeah, about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, we whole start. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You either low or this low, so that bitch is either or. I told you niggas, you ain't cut like that. I swear I'm too hardcore. And I just made the call. We gon' start another war. Yeah.
Shalom, shalom. We're here another Friday night at the headquarters of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, right here in Harlem, New York, right where it's been since 1969, holding it down on the Commanding General Yohana, bringing this truth to our people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, that you are the chosen people of God. And with that comes a culture. With that comes the thing that our oppressors stole from us, an identity, a culture, and a language. And every Friday night, we dive into the Hebrew and take back this language and find out how vivid the scriptures are when you learn to read them in that ancient tongue. And so, tonight we're going to dive into the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and examine this in the Hebrew and put it together with what we've been learning lately. Because as we go through these scriptures, particularly with the connection between the Friday night Hebrew class and the Saturday morning Sabbath service, we go through these scriptures, we learn the Hebrew, and then we apply it, and it becomes a part of you. So, first and foremost, for anybody, catching up, make sure you get the alphabet down. If you don't have it down yet, if you need a sheet, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. We'll get you an official ISUPK alphabet sheet that will have the ancient script and the Assyrian alphabet that we developed in the Assyrian captivity. But of course, that is the script that we have the scriptures preserved to this day in. So it's important to know both. And it's not nearly as intimidating as it may seem. Just dive in, use it, write it over and over, say it out loud, and you'll get it. And all of a sudden, you'll know 2 new alphabets before you even realize. So Don't be intimidated by that. Get it. If you need the sheet, just let us know. We got you. Get caught up. Jump back in with us because we're going to dive in because we dive in every week. Because that's how you learn, by challenging yourself, by going into the deep end of the pool. And that's what we do in here. And so we are going to go deep into Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter.
You got Sha'afua, the Parium, Just Started Pant, Alaba.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody tuning in. And like I said, if anybody needs a sheet, if anybody needs to get caught up, just let me know because we're about to dive in.
I went back to study today, actually, trying to memorize it. It's so easy.
Excellent, excellent. Love to hear it. Love to see our people taking back our language, taking back our ancient culture, the thing that's been taken from us. And remember, all these books have names in the Hebrew, and it's good to learn those. The first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah, are named after the first few words of the book. And so Deuteronomy is the bar. You get a better mark. Oh, it's good. It is good. Wow. The volume in the Hebrew simply means word. Because Deuteronomy opens up with Allah, the volume, the Shah, the bar, Masha, al Kal, Yasha'alu, these are the words which Moses spake to Israel. And so we're going to start out breaking down Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1, because this sets the stage, right? Let's pull this up in the English real quick. Deuteronomy 28 verse 1 in the English is, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So this is how it was supposed to be. This is how the Most High wanted it. This is how the Most High set it up. We were supposed to keep these laws, and keeping these laws would make us what the Lord meant for us all along, which is the rightful rulers of this planet, the greatest people on the planet. And so this sets the stage. And anybody watching, of course, have your interlinear app out, or you can have your straight up Torah out and be, follow along, write this along with me. I'm gonna write verse 1 up on the board real quick in the Assyrian script first. So let's break down this first piece, this first phrase. This part is in English, and it shall come to pass if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, right here. So Wahaya, remember in Hebrew, everything is built from the root word out. So if you're able to break down or identify root words, then you're able to break down and identify prepositions that will come at the beginning of the word. The letters such as the Y here representing and, the Ba which will represent in, etc. You'll see possessives at letters at the end of the word that will represent possessive, who this thing belongs to. And so up here is Wahaya, which is and it shall come to pass. This Haya, the root word here is Haya, which is to be. So Wahaya Am Shamuai, which is, let's try to recognize words that we hear often. This is, of course, based on the word Shema, which is to hear. Fashemai, Bakuwal, which is Kuwal is the voice. Again, we separated from that ba, that preposition for in. Yahweh, Al-Hayat, which is your power. That ka at the end is your. So Yahweh Am, Shemawai, Hashemai, Bakawal, Yahweh, Al-Hayat. Let's keep rolling through this. So let's focus on the next piece. This will be to observe and to do all his commandments. So La Shamar, because this is a word that we use often. Shamar is to keep. It's La, the preposition meaning to keep. La Aishwa, which is based on this word Aisha, which is to do. That's the basis of my name, Aisha. Ah is something that has no equivalent in English. This is a Hebrew word that connects the subject to its verb. This is the subject, the commandments. Call is all. Matazawafiwa. This is based on, we get the absolute root word, matazawa. Of course, don't hesitate to throw comments in the chat.
Daniel Alaban Yahweh. So like, what zone are you in? He said, I tried learning other languages and couldn't do it, but this language coming naturally to me.
Oh, I believe that's the brother from Connecticut. He's been messaging on Instagram.
Oh,
The show shout out. Okay. Let's break down this next piece. Ashar is a word you'll see often. This is which. Nakia is I. Sometimes you see a Nakia. Sometimes you see Anya. We're not going to get too deep into those differences right now, but just take note that that's I. Metazawa. Metazawathika. Solakia. Metazwaka, which is that same commandment. In this case, it's saying, which I command you. Hayawam, which is today or this day. Wanathunka, which is this word, another common word. Nathun, which is to give. Yahweh Alahayka, Lord, thy power. We finish out this verse at the bottom here. So this Aliwan is on high, above all. You'll see that word a million times, get used to that. I'll call over all. Goya, which is nations, Ha Arataza, of the earth. So, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, Wayahaya am Shemwai, Dashemai, Akawol, Yahweh al to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, La Shamar, La Aishua, to do. I call Metazawathu, all the commandments, Ashar and Nakia, Metazwaka Hayawam, which I command you this day, Hayawam, Wanathanika, Yahweh Alahayaka. So the Lord, your God, is going to, this is the set you, but he's giving, because this is the Lord giving us dominion over all the nations. Aliwan, I'll call Goya Ha'aratiza, all the nations of the earth. And this is how the Most High wanted it to be. If we would have just listened and did what we were supposed to do. We would have just listened and did what we were supposed to do. There would be no Esau ruling the earth. There would be no genetically modified plants. There would be no gay parade, Salakia, sir. There would be no Bill Gates. There would be no Jeff Bezos. There would be no transgenders, no drag story time. No, what else? What else is the white man screwed up in this earth? There would be no brothers strung out on drugs right up here on the corner on 125th. We would be on high over all nations of the earth. That's a beautiful thought because it's still coming. We may not have got it right the first time, but the Most High never stopped loving us. And that's the real lesson through all these curses. Because a father only punishes who he loves. And so at the end of all of this, this is still to bring us back in the end. So let's keep going.
Just to correct you, Daniel Alex said, really all the world's pain, our pain is not Esau's fault. It's our fault. It's always Esau's fault. Right. It's never not Esau's fault. Yes, we disobey the Most High. Like he says in Isaiah, I believe in 46th chapter, Esau had no mercy. The Most High said he was wrong from his people. But Esau shows no mercy. Right. The oppressor, Esau, is always the devil. It's always his fault. What we are going through. Of course, we disobey the Most High, and we have to get back to the Most High so that we can rule over this beast. But make no mistake about it.
Right. There's another scripture that I can't. It's like on the tip of my tongue, but basically, just like you said, the Lord delivered us into the hands of an oppressor. But what Esau did from that point on,
I believe that's the same scripture.
Is that same scripture I'm thinking of? What is that? But either way, Most High Christ, what Esau did from that point on, he got the answer for it. That was all him. That was all him being the most demonic, most ruthless, merciless, heartless, cruel thing that ever existed on this planet. That could have only happened. And it's the same,
I got the precept. It's Isaiah 47:6. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thy hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou said, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither did remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, that thou art given to pleasure that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I have none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. So that is the scripture, Isaiah 47.
That's it. And that's so heavy because that's so vivid. The Lord delivered us into their hands, but they're the ones who chose to have no mercy. They're the ones who chose to keep going and keep going and keep going. They had to make that choice, and they're going to answer for that choice. And it's just like, it's also it made me think of Obadiah 1:11. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem. Even thou wast as one of them. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. And fast forward, for as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, verse 16, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. So the point is, Esau, even before this, even in all of our other previous captivities and everything, Esau laughed and mocked and stood there and added on and heaped on to the Lord's punishments. And that's the thing that has the world looking like it is today. And that's got to go. And I can't wait until it goes. But back to Deuteronomy. Let's slide up to verse 15. Because now this is the flip side of it, right? This is the flip side of it. Now, Wahaya, there's that, and it shall come to pass, and it shall be, right? So now, la'af. Now it's saying, if you do not hearken or hear, to the voice of the Most High, Alahayaka, your power,
Wahaya. That one word says, but it shall come to pass.
concept. Because this haya is to be, and so wahaya is, and it's going to be. And so the English, they turned, and it's going to be, and said, and it shall come to pass. Yeah. So we're going to see a lot of the same words, a lot of the same language is just flipped, because now it's talking about what's going to happen if we don't do the things that we're supposed to do. Sharp and not. All right, let's break down what we got so far. Wahaya, and it shall come to pass. This is if la'ah, of course, negates a word. So la'ah thashemai, if that tha at the beginning is like future tense. So if you do not hearken or hear, Yahweh, to the voice of the Most High, Al-Hayakah, your power, La Shamar, to keep, La Aishwa, to do. Ath, remember that's that word that connects the subject to its verb. Ath call, metazawathua, all the commandments Wakawathua, which is and his statutes, and his, and kakwa is statutes. This would be the root word here, kakwa. Ashar and Nakia, which I, Metazoka, command you, Hayawam, this day. So this is Wab'awa and will come. Ba'a is to come. Alika upon you. That I remember upon Alika is upon you. Call Hapolalwa. These are the curses. Kualala is the root word here for curse. Kualala. Allah, which is these, referring to the curses. Wahashagawak, Wahashiyagwaka, which is based on this root word, Nishad. Nishad is to overtake. So this is and overtake you. And so now the Lord is about to tell us what's going to happen when we chose to go the other way, to go our own way, and to refuse to keep the commandments and the laws that would have preserved us as a people, would have strengthened us as a people. We wanted to go every which way and do everything else but that. And so just to run through this again one more time in the English, but it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Wahaya la'athashemai. Wahaya, and it shall come to pass if la'athashemai, you do not hearken ba'kawol Yahweh, to the voice of the Most High, Alahayka, thy power, Lashmar, to observe, La'ishwath, to do, Remember that shamar is the word that we use to keep, guard, protect. In this case, this is observe, but it's observe meaning you're doing it, you're keeping it. La shamar, la aishwath, af, kal, matazawathua, all the commandments, all his commandments, wakaquathua, and his statutes, ashar nakya, matazwaka, hayawam, which I command you this day. Waba'awa, aliyaka, kal, hakolawath, that all these curses shall come upon you. Ha'Allah wa hashem yadu yaka, and overtake thee. This nashad, overtake you. And that's what's about to happen. We're about to read about that in vivid details. Now let's start right at the next verse, verse 16. So this one line right here is verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. So this arar is to curse. We just saw a different word for curse in the last verse, right? We saw the word qualah, which if you look into that, that comes up about 20 times throughout the scriptures. This word arar is more common and it's more specific. If you look into the Strong's, it says to bitterly curse. So now this is talking about the state of how we're going to be living once the Lord saw that we went off and decided to put these curses on us. Our reward, a thought. Again, we got to always notice common words. Of course, when we say the salute, Yahweh Shem Shabrak Atha, bless you. So this Atha is, in this case, our reward Atha. Cursed. I want to use the exact English language when I translate. Cursed shalt thou be. Ba'ayar, which is in the city. In the city. Well, our reward, and cursed Atha shalt thou be, Bashadah, in the field. And that's the state that we're in today. Wherever our people are at, wherever you find blacks and Hispanics, we curse. Whether we're in the city, we're right here on 125th Street in the middle of Harlem, and if you step out that door, you're going to see nothing but our people living cursed. in the middle of this city, in poverty, in drug addiction, living in hellholes, living on the street, living in the subway. If you walk down, you know how many times that subway station right there has been in the news in the last couple of months? People getting pushed on the tracks, people getting jumped left and right, people, people passing out on the platform. That's a daily occurrence. But the murders make the news. Everything else just happens, and they just come send somebody in to clean the guy out the way and keep it going. That's cursed. And then if you go find us in the field, you're gonna find a whole lot more curses. You're gonna find us on the most barren parts of the land. You're gonna find us getting pushed off our land and having our land taken to this day, or having to flee the land because we're somewhere that's so unstable that we just got to leave the land behind. Or our brothers and sisters that migrate all the way here, go through hell to do it, go through face every type of death to get here, and then get here to do what? To go into the field and pick 10 buckets of apples for, $2. That's being cursed in the city and the field. Let's keep going. Verse 17. Our reward. Curse, and one thing that we don't talk about as much, but when you see the root word here is arah. This is curse. That what in the middle of a word is what changes the tense of a word. It's why, we say shalom for greeting. Sometimes you'll see shalom with a Y in the middle of it. That's because that's a different tense, a different variation of the word. In this case, this is making it a future. This is what's making it say, cursed shall you be. So our reward Tanaka Wamasharathi. And this is in the English, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. And the basket, this is Tanaka again. That ka each time is your. Of course, the Y at the beginning here is and. You should know that by now. And the root word here is Masharath, and this is most specifically a kneading bowl, and this is thy store. So cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Visualize that today. Your basket is what you're able to gather. What are we able to gather in this heaven? Nothing. There's a statistic that I remember reading that says that every Black and Hispanic family in America is something like one paycheck away from being homeless. That's because we're not able to gather anything. We're not able to stack anything. It takes damn near a miracle to be able to save up any type of money in this hell, because it's set up like that. It's set up to keep you living hand to mouth, to keep you living paycheck to paycheck. We have no basket, and we damn sure have no store.
I got a precept for this.
Hit me, sir.
Precept people. This is the book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 5. Now, therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Verse 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm.
Mm.
And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes.
A bag with holes. That's heaven. That's our life. That is our life in New York in 2024. We're putting everything into a bag with holes. We're drinking we're drinking and eating that are not filled. Our clothes are what? Man, that's your life. These curses, these prophecies, all through these scriptures only describe the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in this day. And the reason they describe us is because of this chapter in Deuteronomy, because we refuse to hearken unto the words of the Most High. So let's keep flowing through these curses. Let's fast forward just a little bit to verse 32. So this, right from the start, two very common words to tell you where we're going with this. Bunyika Wabanafika. Your sons and your daughters. Nathaniel. Now remember, we're going to see a lot of different forms, different tenses of words, but as long as we can recognize and identify the common words and the root words that we see, we're good. So that Nathan is to give. So Bunyika, Wabanathika, Nathaniel will be given. La'an, to, and An is a people, as in a nation of people. Okay, now let's break this down. So, Bunyaka, Wabinathika, Nathanium, your sons and your daughters shall be given La'im Achar to another people. Wa'ayanyuka, and your eyes. Your ayanyu. Wa'ayanyuka. Ra'awath. This ra'ah, I'm going to drop the root words under as many of these as I can. This ra'ah is to look. And kala is to long for something. So what? So ra'awath, wa kalawath. And your eyes will look with longing. Aliyahum is to them. Call Hayawam, which is all day long. Wa'ayan, wa'al yadka, and there shall be no power in your yad, in your hand, your hand. What did I miss? This la'ala, this is power. This is power in the strict sense. You don't see this slot. Do we see that word used a lot in this type of context? Yeah. This is the same word for power, but it's talking strictly about like power in your hand. And in the English, that's where it says, no might in thine hand. And so this one more time in the English, this is, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Bunyaka, Wabanathika, Nathanium, La'im, Achar, to another people. And thine eyes shall look, Wa'ayanyaka, Ra'awath, and fail with longing for them all the day long. Or Kalawath, Aliyahum, call Hayawam, Wa'ayan, and there shall be no might in thy hand. Wa'ayan, La'ala Yadka. And that, you know for a fact, that only describes the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Our sons and our daughters have been given to another people. This is verse 32. Our sons and our daughters have been given to another people. And this is why. This is why our great-grandparents on a field, whether it was down south, whether it was in Haiti, whether it was in the Dominican Republic, all of our great-grandparents at one time or another had to go through the pain of watching their child be taken away and sent away somewhere else, and they would never know what's going to happen to them, whether they were going to be beat, tortured, whether they were going to make it out alive, whether they would ever hear from them again. The so-called Native Americans went through that when every time the white man ran up on them and ruthlessly ruthlessly mutilated everybody he could get his hands on, took who he felt like taking, left with whoever he felt like leaving with, sent the rest up into whatever little plot of land they signed a treaty that they have, kept up 10% of. This verse is something that every tribe on the chart that y'all all know, and some of y'all love to hate. Every tribe on that chart has gone through this in the past 400 years. And nobody else has. Show me where the white man can say they went through this. Show me where the so-called Jewish man, who they still have the most tight-knit communities you'll find anywhere. They never went through longing for their children as they were sent to another people. That's a massive curse to go through as a race, as a nation, to have this happen. This is why we're still dealing with all the dissension and all the fighting between men and women to this day. Is because our family structure was ripped apart when we went through generation after generation of not even knowing if we were going to have a family, the same family that we have today the next day. Let's keep it going. Verse 34. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 34. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. And that's real talk. Y'all think all these brothers that's on the trains babbling and walking through the streets talking to themselves, y'all think they just like that? Y'all think that just happened? Y'all think it just so happens that blacks and Hispanics are just walking through the streets talking to themselves? That happens because they had to live. They had to somehow make it through 50, 60 years in this hell. And bit after bit, I can see how it wears somebody's sanity down to the bone. We're talking about people that have been through everything and can't get nothing. And by the time you reach a certain age of having gone through the same cycles, going through the same hell, getting beat down, going through prisons and shelters and whatever the hell else is out there, being on drugs, being burning a hole through your gut with alcohol because they ain't got nothing else to do. This white man's world is driving our people mad. This mad here in this verse is mad as in crazy. Wahaya so that thou shalt be. And shagai is the root word here, which is to be driven insane. Shagai. Mamara'ah. The mara'ah is the vision. So this is the sight. Ayyanika. Talked about eyes being ayyan. Ayyanika is the sight of your eyes. The shar, that's that word which. Fara'ah. So again, it's that same root word, see. So this is, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. Wayath, Dashigai, Mamara'ah, Ayanika, Shar, Tara'ah. We were going to be put through so much according to these curses, according to this chapter. We were going to go through so much that just the sight of it would drive us mad. And if you live in any city in America, you've seen that. And you only see it with our people. We're going to fast forward to verse 41. Verse 41, thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. That's similar to something that we just read a minute ago. Bunyam wa bunawa, sons and daughters. Tha yaliyah. If you've been with us in the Sabbath service, we've been in these early chapters of Genesis, and there have been a lot of begetting. And so we have seen this root word, yalad, a lot. Yalad is to beget. You shall beget. Tha yaliyah. Bunyam wa bunawa, tha yaliyah, wala'ah, yahaywa. Of course, the la'ah negates anything, so wa, la'ah, and not. Now, Yahaywa is again based on that hayah, which is to be. So you shall beget sons and daughters, but you are not going to Laka, Kaya, Lakwa, Ashabi. So this is essentially saying, we got to translate this a little. This is saying they will not, Wala'ah, Yahaywa, They will not be yours. Laka is to you, is yours. And this Wahaya, they will not be yours. In the English, it's, but thou shalt not enjoy them. You're not going to get a chance to raise your children the way that any man on the planet wants to raise his children. In this hell, we have children, and we immediately got to worry how we're going to keep them alive. In this hell, you have children, and you're trying to find a way for them not to be anything like everyone else around them. You're trying to find a way for them not to have to work like a slave. You're trying to find some miracle for them not to get caught up into some violent life. You're not enjoying your children. And until recently, there was a real high probability that they would just get snatched up.
You know, to this day, 50 to 80,000 black women alone was missing.
God damn.
Every year. So.
Facts. How could I forget? Matter of fact, you know how I can forget? Because the white man does everything he can to make us never hear that number.
So much distraction. BT, you got Love and Hip Hop, you got, Kendrick Lamar and Drake right now.
We're going to sit up here. Everybody on Twitter spent the entire day yesterday arguing over whether Drake could say nigga. That was the entire preoccupation of every black person on Twitter yesterday. Meanwhile, 50,000 black women are missing. Meanwhile, if your children go missing, get kidnapped, get sex trafficked, anything, they're going to end up on a milk carton and no one's going to look for them. Because just like this verse says, you're going to beget sons and daughters, and they won't even be yours. You're going to, from day one, be trying to protect them like you're in the wild. Because the white man is a wild animal. Like you're in the wild trying to protect your young from every bear and everything coming. That's not how humans live, but it's how we live. We're going to keep rolling. Verse 48. Let's squeeze this in. Matter of fact, we kind of running low on time. Verse 48 is a little long. Let's get down to verse 64 real quick.
What we feel?
Oh, can't wait.
What were you drinking?
That was juice. Yeah. All right, let's see, verse 64. Let's break down this first portion. This is, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. Let's break this down. Watza is the root word up here. This is to scatter. So wa ha payatazak Yahweh Bakal Ha'ayim. Let's keep identifying things that we can identify here. This root word Aim is a word for people, as in a nation of people. Bakal is in all. Of course, we know the Most High's name. And Quatazah is the end or the edge. You'll see this in some brothers' names. So this Quatazah is to the end of the earth. The ma, of course, is a preposition meaning of or from. Aratazah, you'll see this word all the time. The earth. Aratazah is earth. Sometimes it's used as land, but it's meaning like physical land beneath your feet. Well, Id is unto. Ha Aratazah. So Wahab Payatazaka Yahweh Bakal Ha'ayim Quatazah Ha'aratazah Wa'ai Quatazah Ha'aratazah. And the Lord shall scatter thee, among all people from the one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth. Or Ibadah. This is that root word abad, which is to serve. Wa Ibadah Shum Alahayim Akharim. This is other. So this is the Most High saying that we would serve other gods. Ashar La'ah, which La'ah Yadaitha. This is Yadai. This is the root word here, which is to know. Atha, which you have not known. Wa'abathika, which is and your fathers. Aitazah, which you have not known, nor your fathers. Aitazah wa'abun, gods of wood. Aitazah is the word for tree. Wa'abun, and stone. And this is a curse. Serving other gods is a curse. thinking that something made of wood or stone could save you. Being in a state where you're stupid enough to pray to a statue or a carving is a curse. That's normal for everybody else on the planet. Because the Lord made everybody else on the planet stupid enough to worship a carving or a grave. That's normal. You go up in one of these Chinese food places and you see a little statue of Fat Buddha, or you go into one of these Elamite shops and see the joint with 8 arms. That joint used to scare me when I was a little kid. You got an elephant head and 8 arms. That's crazy. That's what they worship. Somebody just came up with this thing. They was on some crazy drug and came up with this thing 1,000 years ago. And that's what they pray to and really believe has the power over their lives. That's a curse to believe in something like that. And that's where we're at. Because our people will follow Buddha before we follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. Before we pray to the God of Israel, our people will go be a Buddhist. How stupid do you have to be to go follow some fat Chinese man from 1,000 years ago? But that's how we cursed. Or we'll pray to white Jesus. That's worshiping a tree. Because they're in there basically worshiping the cross. And they got every statue, every saint, statues of Mary and everybody else in there. And they really, our people, to this day, all over the world, whether it's Mexico, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Brazil, where the first thing you see in Brazil is a gigantic statue of white Jesus, really truly believe that those statues represent power over their lives. That's a curse. And the culmination in verse 68. Matter of fact, let's make sure we get some work with the ancient script today. So let's write, if you have your interlinear out, if you have your Hebrew scripture out, let's write this over in the ancient script.
Forgot where in the Bible it says what, Daniel? Shalom, W32, touch protocol. Make sure you sign in. Make sure you take your attendance. Get credit. So, let's speak about it. Good. Yeah, maybe too long. It's tight. So yeah,
And there we have verse 68 in the ancient Hebrew. And we're going to break it down real quick as we come to a close. Wahashayabka. This is and will take you back. Shayab is to return. Yahweh. Matazari to Egypt, which only represented one thing to the nation of Israel. Going back to Egypt meant going into slavery. Back to Egypt. Not just to Egypt, not we're just going to take a little trip to Egypt. Going back to Egypt meant going to slavery. Ba'aniyawath, in ships. This word only has one meaning. Ba'in aniyawath, ships. And like I hate to break it to some of y'all that don't like the meaning of this verse, but you don't need a ship to go from Israel to Egypt. If you think this is literal Egypt, you're going to have to show me where you would need a ship to just walk over to the next piece of land that's right next to you.
and when did it happen in history?
And when did that happen? When did all of Israel get in ships and go from Israel right here to Egypt in a whole fleet of ships? By the rock, this is the way, a path. The rock is a path, a street, a way. By the rock, the way, a shar, which Amarathia, which I said, Lakad to you, La'ah, Tasayak, Iwad. La'ah, you will not. Tasayak, which means you shall. Yasak is more, or again, you will not. Iwad, see it. Salak. You will not, no longer again, la da'athas, la ra'athas, see it again. And this long word right here is, and you shall be sold. And this is why I say you got to be able to, the best way to learn early on is to be able to break down root words here, because the root word in all of this is this right here, these three letters right here. Makar. Makar, which means soul. And everything around it is just turning it into and you shall be sold. Shum, which is there. La Yabika. Ayab is your enemy. La Yabika is to your enemies. La Ibadim. We talked about this word Ibad. This is servant. La Ibadim. La Shapakwa. And that's a maid servant or a female slave. Wa'ayun Qanat. And no one, Wa'ayun Qanat, will buy you, meaning will redeem you, will buy you, meaning the nation, out of this condition. Nobody, no black leader, no Hispanic leader, no Native American chief was able to take our people out of this condition. We're still in it today. We say, every people outside of the school say it all the time. We're in mental slavery. We're still living and working at the bottom tier of society like slaves. None of our so-called leaders have been able to buy us, meaning to redeem us as a people, to take us all back. This doesn't, no matter how much some of you haters out there want this to mean that they're going to send a whole nation of slaves up on the auction block and they just weren't going to buy people. No matter how stupid that sounds, some of you want this to mean that. It's not what this means. This means buy as a whole. This means that we are still in this condition to this day, and we're still going to be in this condition until the one that can redeem us comes back. And it's just that simple. And it's always going to be that simple. And next week, more than likely, Officer Hazaha will be back here holding this down. I'm just holding it down in the meantime. Humbly holding it down in the meantime. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9 o'clock, the Sabbath service, where we put into practice the Hebrew that we learn here, and we take back our culture day by day and work to wrench our culture from the hands of the devil, the so-called white man that took it from us. And with that, I'll pass the class over to Priest Officer 5000 Yatazar.
Clap it up for the class. Silent Christ, we're going to give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, like Majam Shabbat, like Majam, Barak, Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua Barak. And to the sisters, Yahweh Shemar Alatam Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Shalom, Israel.